Ladies and gentlemen, orcs and elves alike, welcome to the Hype Train, a new series where we look at all the available information for an as-yet unreleased game. Today we're looking at the recently announced 6th expansion for World of Warcraft Legion. All the information in this video is correct as of recording, but Blizzard often edits or removes features during production, so this is by no means representative of the end result. Without further ado, all aboard and let's get this show on the road. Legion is set within a new continent, the Broken Isles. Though once at the heart of Azeroth and home to the ancient Night Elf capital of Suramar, they were split from the mainland during the Sundering over 10,000 years ago. The Tomb of Sargeras is also present on the Broken Isles, which some of you will remember from the Warcraft RTS. The tomb will be the centre of a new demonic invasion, bigger than any Azeroth has ever seen before. We will arrive at the Broken Shore and chase down Gul'dan and his demons, battling him at the Tomb of Sargeras. This is where the story of Legion begins. Note that Blizzard's official announcement at Gamescom said that this battle happens before Legion is officially launched, and will be similar to what the assault on the Dark Portal was for Warlords of Draenor, and they've promised it will shock and surprise all of us. After this initial storyline, we will wake up to a world on fire, and we, the heroes, must save the day. Again. During the expansion, we gather an artifact weapon specific to our talent spec, and form a class-specific order. Think Argent Dawn and Earthen Ring, but we, the heroes, are in charge. Oh, and by the way, Demon Hunters, whose story we'll cover in this section, and mechanics and other things in the Demon Hunter specific section. As a Demon Hunter, we see the story of Illidan's Illidari through his eyes, and see what really happened after the siege of Black Temple when Illidan was supposedly killed. Before we, as characters in the Burning Crusade, attacked him, he sends the Illidari on a special mission. This mission takes us, as the Illidari, to the prison world of Mardoon, created by Sargeras when he was one of the good guys, and where he stored all the demons he encountered. This was the world he shattered to unleash the Burning Legion upon the universe. The Halls of the Wardens will also be integral to the story. This is certainly shaping up to be a tip of the hat to Warcraft 3. Back to the main storyline, and us heroes will be searching for the Pillars of Creation, which we can use to close the gateway within the Tomb of Sargeras. The pillars are Titan relics, originally used to mould Azeroth to the Titan's liking. But 12,000 years ago, there was a festering wound in the Broken Isles. The Pillars of Creation were used to seal the wound, the Temple of Elune was built on top, and the wound was opened again, and an infinite number of demons are now coming through it. Personally, I'm glad to see things from Warcraft 3 making a return in Legion, and although it's not quite as exciting as Northrend being announced for Wrath of the Lich King, it seems Blizzard have got some good ideas for where the story is going. Especially considering they've known about this expansion since before they were working on Warlords of Draenor. Most importantly though, I can't wait to see what happened with Illidan after the events of the Black Temple. I think looking forward, the Demon Hunter storyline looks like the most interesting, followed by the organisation of the class orders and artifacts. Now we will go through the characters that Blizzard have told us are important for the new expansion. First up, we have Maiev Shadowsong. Oh dear, this poor woman. She spent 10,000 years guarding Illidan only to have bloody Bossy Boots Tyrande come and release him. And after he had been killed in the Black Temple, she took his remains and the remaining Illidari, imprisoning them and vowing to never let the Demon Hunters be released. Let's just hope that this time it's someone nicer than Tyrande who's going to break the news to her that we're releasing all of the Demon Hunters. Next up is Xavius, all-around bad news and proper twat who's making a return. 10,000 years ago he was screwing around with the Well of Eternity in the War of the Ancients, then he was messing with reality, now he's attempting to conquer Valshara, where the World Tree Shaladrisil is spreading the Emerald Nightmare. I have a feeling we might see a lot of satires in this expansion. Also, Anduin Wrynn is back again, looking a little more brooding in Teenage than in Pandaria, and this time he's going to learn that not all conflicts can be brought to an end diplomatically. This'll be his first encounter with the Legion, and boy does he have some lessons in store. And now for someone new, Tide Mistress Athissa, a devoted servant to the alive and still kicking Ashara, Queen of the Naga. She will be leading a massive Naga army to take Azsuna, an area rumoured to hold a Titan relic, perhaps a Pillar of Creation. Expect weird Naga voices, lots of Night Elf spirits, and a possible staging point for more battles between the Alliance and Horde. Gen effing Greymane. Showing his devotion to the Alliance, he's going to be kicking ass and taking names in this new expansion. It'll be nice to see him somewhere other than licking King Varian's bum. And now for a lot of things I can't pronounce properly. Dargruul the Underking. Well, this guy is a Drogbar of High Mountain. 10 points for that original naming, Blizzard. After the Legion's arrival, this Drogbar leader stole the Hammer of Khaz'goroth, a powerful artifact. There's that word again. Perhaps this is another one that we will see ourselves using. Protected by the High Mountain Tauren. And he wants to take control of the mountain.
In the mountains.
7 and 8 is Khadgar and Gul'dan. Yes, this blossoming romance is making a comeback. Khadgar will be leading the efforts to thwart the Legion and Gul'dan by closing another bloody portal, and it's been hinted at that he'll be the one to start off the creation of our class orders. Gul'dan was sent by Archimonde to Azeroth to pave the way for the Legion's invasion, but what we all really want to know is when will they kiss? Our penultimate important character is Sylvanas Windrunner. Well. The fan favourite is going to be important to this expansion. She's going to have to make a choice whether her soul is more important than the Forsaken. There's going to be some more information on the Valkyr too, with more Vrykul living on the Broken Isles, and I'm also going to go ahead and make a prediction that Genn, Greymane and Sylvanas will battle it out at some point during this expansion. And finally, the man we've all been waiting for, Illidan's Stormrage. Cue thunderous applause. I'll simply quote what Blizzard have said about him. After the fall of the Black Temple, the corpse of the Lord of Outland, Illidan's Stormrage, disappeared. No one knows the true fate of Illidan's remains, but legend holds that Warden Maiev of Shadowsong took his broken body to the Vault of the Wardens so that Illidan's dark, lingering soul could suffer the rest of his eternal sentence, along with his followers, the feared Illidari. Justice to be served forever. There were also mentions of Illyria and Tyrallion. For God's sake, please don't screw this up, Blizzard. Now let's take a look at the new zones we'll be seeing in Legion. Val'Shara. This is essentially the old home of Druidism, but like everything that wasn't in Vanilla WoW, it was forgotten. This is the zone where we will find Xavius and his satyrs who are trying to bring the Emerald Nightmare out into our world, on top of a bloody demonic invasion. And it wouldn't be a zone steeped in Druidic history without us meeting Ysera there. From the pictures that we've seen of Val'Shara, it seems to be your typical Kaldorei zone. It's very pretty, with lots of large trees, vibrant greens and purple colours, and that stereotypically Night Elf building style. However, knowing that Xavius is resident there, and he's trying to bugger everything up, I imagine we're going to see some corruption around Xavius' base of operation. On the back of this zone, we will be going into the Emerald Nightmare with a glimpse of the Emerald Dream, although this will entirely be in a raid, details of which we will cover later. Stormheim. Oh yes, the Vrykul are back. Only these ones left Northrend thousands of years ago looking for the Holy Land? For Christ's sake, Blizzard. With the opposing halls of Valor and Helheim, or essentially Heaven and Hell, Heim. These are the homes of two Titan Keepers, like those we met in Ulduar. Only these two have been fighting each other over thousands of years. Levity aside, this seems like a pretty cool area, with more information about the Valkyr and Kvaldir, and a ride on the Ship of Souls into the Maw of Helheim. Ultimately, it seems this area will end in a fight against the Vrykul's God King and his minions, who are themselves working for the Burning Legion. A theme running through the zones we've seen so far from Blizzard is that they are pretty, and this is no exception. Though slightly rugged in its feel, there are mountainous regions with pine trees in some areas with autumnal colours, and greener colours in other areas. Next up is High Mountain, and I still can't get over that bloody simple name. It is the home to the High Mountain Tauren, who control the relic of Khazgaroth. This zone is ruthless, and only the strongest creatures survive here, which sounds a lot like what they said about Warlords of Draenor. Anyway, Neltharion's ancient home is also nestled within the mountain, and though he is dead and gone, his old home is inhabited by the Drogbar, and that Drogbar bloke from earlier whose name I couldn't really pronounce. Azuna? This area shows us really what the ancient Night Elf civilization was like, with buildings that border both Keldorei, Sindorei, and Kaldorei styles. Carved stone and domed buildings seem to be the status quo here, including a tower reminiscent of the Wyrmrest Temple in Northrend, which is fitting seeing as there is a remnant of blue dragonflight in this area. There is also a group of exiled ancient elven royalty, expelled from Suramar and left to die outside the walls. These are the Nightfallen, who, I imagine, will introduce us to the story of the next era on our list, and help us in our fight against Queen Azshara and her minions to control the Pillar of Creation in this zone. Suramar. Leading on from Azuna, Suramar is the home of those ancient elves we were talking about, an offshoot race of the ancient Kaldorei in the same way that the Keldorei are an offshoot of the Kaldorei. They have been flourishing with magic at the heart of their society, much in the same way as Azshara did historically. However, much in the same way, they have now been corrupted and become pawns of the Burning Legion. In Blizzard's words, we have to kill them all, as well as their guards, and Gul'dan, to secure the last relic that we need, another Pillar of Creation, no doubt. Dalaran. That's right, Dalaran is back, and it's a hub city again. It's had a few changes and a graphical update to it, and it has been mentioned a couple of times that the underbelly could be the hub for the rogue's class order, but other than that, we don't really know much about Dalaran at this time. It's time. Now you too can hold that ancient weapon that you've always lusted after, whether it be the Ashbringer, possibly the most coveted of famous WoW weapons, or a sword forged from the shards of Frostmourne. Artifacts are going to cover that particular fantasy of us Warcraft fans. As a result of these artifacts being a part of Legion, we will not be looting any other weapons in this expansion. These artifacts are spec-specific, meaning there are 36 different artifacts, one for each class specialization, which is frankly fantastic. If they had done one for each class, there wouldn't have been nearly enough diversity, so I'm pretty glad about that decision. After the initial assault on the Broken Shore, you will set off to find your artifact. This quest will be class and spec specific, so what we know so far is that Frost Death Knights will go to Icecrown in search of the Shards of Frostmourne. Ret Paladins will be looking for the Ashbringer which has fallen in battle. Wait, what? Is Tyrion going to die? Where does it fall? Why? Does he just bloody well drop it? Anyway, Prot Warriors will be searching for a sword and shield forged from the scales of Neltharion, Deathwing, that belonged to an ancient Vrykul king. And though each of these quests are class and spec specific, they are not on the same level of scale and difficulty as the Warlock Green Fire quest. The Blizzard team has a few ideas for how artifacts will work. Firstly, your artifact will start at epic and then there will be some way for it to become legendary over time. Or, your artifact will start as legendary. And the final option, your artifact may not have a quality, it could just be its own thing. The goal is for players to have an item that they are working on powering up, and it can become a legendary, rewarding players who do all of the expansion's content, similar to Mr. Pandaria and Warlords. Which I think means it's going to end up as that first option, of the artifact starting at epic, and then being turned into a legendary artifact over time. Completing quests, dungeons, world objectives, battlegrounds, and major activities in the game will earn you artifact powers. These will allow you to unlock traits. Once one trait is unlocked, it will open up adjacent nodes along a branch. Eventually, you will unlock every trait in the artifact weapon tree, though you may be able to choose the order in which you do it. These traits will empower the weapon and your character, and you can also unlock visual customizations. More on that in a moment. Some examples of traits that we have seen are as follows. For Paladins, Echo of the High Lord. When you use Templar's Verdict or Divine Storm, Ashbringer will mimic that action for 2 seconds. Or for Death Knights, Arise and Serve. Raise ally now restores all health and mana. Upon death, the Death Knight now has an option to raise himself. Some of the traits will be damage boosts, such as the Echo of the High Lord. Some will be utility, such as Arise and Serve, and others will change your rotation entirely. So clearly these are going to be significant. These trait trees are presented as a grid overlaid on the weapon shape within a window in-game. On top of the traits there will be relic slots on the weapon, which will have base item stats. The relics will be earned by completing major questlines, dungeons and raids. Each of these artifacts has 5 different looks, one of which is the standard look. They are unlocked through leveling your weapon, achievements, raiding and PvP. One artifact weapon look is specifically for PvP, so we can assume there will be one for each of the above mentioned ways of unlocking them. Some examples of the weapons we will be seeing are as follows. Shaylun, Staff of the Mists. Mistweaver monks will go to Pandaria to seek out the Staff of Emperor Xiaohao. The variants have Pandaren influences such as the Red Crane, Jade Serpent or Shah. Fellow Malorn, which was the spell sword wielded by Kael'thas against the Lich King at Icecrown Citadel. Where it was lost, fire mages will seek out the blade. The Eagle Spear is new to the lore, High Mountain Tauren weapon for survival hunters. The variants have several animal themes such as the wolf, bear and serpent. Icebringer and Soul Reaper are blades forged out of the shards of Frostmourne. All of the variants have skulls. The Doomhammer is the weapon for enhancement shamans. This will appear in both the main and offhand, while the offhand is made of magic. There are Fel, Fire, Crystal and other variants of this weapon. Fangs of the First Nightsaber is for Feral and Guardian Druids. They can customize the look of their form rather than customizing a weapon. Spectral, Armored and other variants will be available. The base cat form is also getting an updated model. So far, we know that you will be able to transmog the artifact to look like other weapons, but not the other way around, and priests will have cooler looking weapons than Benediction and Anathema. Thank God. There may well be a catch-up mechanic for the other specs, as they want people to be able to get all the artifacts for their class, but as yet this is unknown. This time around, while the obvious Alliance and Horde conflict continues, individual classes are banding together to fight the Burning Legion. This is where the class orders come in, which you, yourself, will be leading. Now that's pretty damn cool. If there is one thing that I like from MMOs, it's when they can take you as an individual among many and make you feel special. And I think that if they play the class orders right, that could happen. This is all part of a heavy focus on class identity in Legion, making each class feel different and like its own element. The orders will each have a hall, which is your base of operations as a class, which you share with both Alliance and Horde members of the same class. These order halls will be located in thematically appropriate areas and only members of your class may enter, almost identically to how Acheris is for Death Knights. Establishing the class order will follow directly on from you retrieving your artifact, as you are now the wielder of a powerful symbol of your class. Some examples of order halls are as follows. Shamans will be in a hollowed out cave overlooking the Maelstrom where all elements have come together. Paladins have discovered a hidden Templar sanctum underneath Light's Hope Chapel. Warlocks will be on a Legion portal world. Lots of lovely green fire is likely. The order halls will be where you customize and upgrade the artifact and will also be a hub for special class specific quests and missions. They will not have a bank or auction house and you will not spend as much time there as you did your garrison, and Dalaran will remain the main hub. They may, however, have different sections, for example for Horde Paladins and Alliance Paladins. Similar to the garrison, your order hall will have champions, though not in as large a number as garrisons. Blizzard have said think the Knights of the Round Table as opposed to everybody you bump into in Draenor. Some of these characters are going to be established in lore and important, for example Lady Liadrin of the Blood Elf Paladins. Your champions will help you accomplish things within the world, and not be doing things for you as in garrisons. You can have them sent to a zone where they will give you bonuses while you complete objectives in that area. So far, this is all that Blizzard has said about class orders, but hopefully they will be bringing out more information in the future, and we can always look forward to BlizzCon. Now we'll move on to dungeons and raids. Blizzard wants to revitalize dungeons with more varied challenges, more replayability, and more reasons to keep doing them throughout the expansion, rather than simply being ignored once raid content is available. However, they don't yet know what they will incentivize players with. Normal and heroic dungeons will still be in Legion, but they're unsure about Mythic. They do like Mythic dungeons, but they just don't know what they want to do with them at this point. Although challenge modes are not guaranteed to be in Legion, the developers like those also, and want to look at making them more accessible. Halls of Valor. In the clouds above Stormheim, this is a dungeon to be done whilst leveling. The art and feel of this dungeon is based on Valhalla, and it is the heavenly half of Valor and Helheim. This is where the greatest warriors of the Vrykul are sent, and it is their eternal reward for being the strongest or best. Throughout Stormheim, you are seeking out a Pillar of Creation, contending with the Vrykul leader, a god king, who is in league with the Legion. You race against him through the zone, and both of you will end up at this dungeon. To claim the Pillar of Creation, you must prove yourself worthy in combat. The Halls of Valor will also provide us with more information on the origin of the Valkyr, as the ones residing within are the pure Valkyr, who are warriors of the light. They are not the undead corrupted Valkyr of the Lich King, and subsequently Sylvanas. Black Rook Hold. This is a max-level dungeon in Valshara, the home of Lord Katalos Ravencrest. The elven structure was a bulwark against the Legion, carved out of the mountains to be an unassailable fortress, which we will no doubt have to assail, starting in the catacombs below and working our way up to the top of the spire. Vault of the Wardens. Not only is this where the demon hunters awaken, but it is also where the Wardens have held Illidan and other of the greatest threats to Azeroth. Gul'dan found Illidan here, and this is where the hunt for Gul'dan and Illidan will begin. The Eye of Ashara. This is possibly a working title, as one of the developers didn't seem sure about the name when he was asked about it in an interview. This is where we will face off against the Naga and other minions of Queen Ashara. Dark Heart Thicket. This is located in Valshara at the base of the World Tree. It is the heart of the nightmare corruption that is spreading throughout the zone. You fight your way into a chamber at the base of the tree to rescue Malfurion from the corruption of the nightmare. Neltharion's Lair. This is located in High Mountain, and is the cavern where Neltharion lived before he became Deathwing. This has become the centre of society for the rocky warriors of High Mountain. We need to venture into their capital to recover the Pillar of Creation wielded by their chieftain. Helheim. This is the opposite number to the Halls of Valor, and is another dungeon located in Stormheim, and though this time we'll be travelling to Helheim on the ghost ship of the damned, Niflfart. Niflvar, that's it, Niflvar, which carries us to Helheim. This dungeon occurs almost entirely on the ship, sailing through the stormy seas in an immersive dungeon unlike anything we've ever seen before, according to Blizzard. Suramar City. This is the City of Night, where the Nightborn rule from their palace. The city contains catacombs beneath it and noble houses throughout the city, both of which you'll be venturing through to discover ties to the Legion and the ultimate plan that is unfolding. Violet Hold. Yes, this is back, but apparently Blizzard have changed it somewhat, so... Violet Hold had some deep secrets that we didn't discover the first time around, but these are now awakened by proximity to the Tomb of Sargeras. We learn more about the origins of Dalaran, Mages of Dalaran, and the origins of the world itself. The Emerald Nightmare. This is a raid with 7 bosses. Players have always wanted to see the Emerald Dream. It was created by the Titans as a blueprint for Azeroth itself, a perfect version of our world. Something went wrong and the world has descended into corruption and nightmare. That threatens to spread into our world and engulf it. In the dungeon we enter the roots of the tree, but in the raid we climb into the tree and cross through the barrier that separates our reality from the reality of the dream. We will go in, root out corruption, seek out Cenarius, and confront Xavius himself at the heart of the nightmare. Suramar Palace. This raid has 10 bosses, and is the palace in Suramar from which the Grand Magistrix runs the city. He has brokered a deal with the Legion to allow them to use and corrupt the Pillar of Creation, to create the Nightwell, a conduit of dark energy. The layout and structure is somewhat reminiscent of Black Temple. You start in an underground catacomb, as you aren't able to enter the front gate. You work your way up to outdoor balconies, royal quarters, and then to the Nightwell itself, where you find the Grand Magistrix and Gul'dan. Gul'dan is here as an ambassador to the Legion, and he can't run away this time. This is not another green spike-filled orc raid, but a royal elven city. Blizzard wants to improve the loot you get from raids and how personal loot works for Legion. They think that raids worked well in Warlords and that having encounters that favour melee and others that favour ranged is not a problem as long as the gap isn't too big. As far as rumours that Sylvanas might be a raid boss, they had only this to say. Well, that's interesting. Oh my effing god. This is the hero class most of us been waiting for. At least I know I have, ever since they added the Death Knight in Wrath of the Lich King, and boy does it look cool. If you haven't heard about this yet, I can safely assume that you're not a WoW player, in which case, thanks for bothering to watch this video. For all of us drooling fanboys, let's dive right in. As far as appearances go, the Demon Hunters will only be Night Elves and Blood Elves in Legion. Though in the far future it may happen that other races will get to be Demon Hunters. For now, however, they are sticking with the Illidari lore and canon. Demon Hunters will have a variety of horns to choose from, and for those oddballs who don't want horns, they don't have to have them. There will also be tattoos, though currently only for Demon Hunters. There's also different skin variations, such as scaly skin or demonically tainted skin, and not only that, but different eyewear as well. You can choose from an Illidan-style blindfold, a veil, and other styles that will be shown at a later date. As the Demon Hunter is a hero class, they will have a unique starting area and experience, similar to that of Death Knights. They will also start at a high level, currently stated to be between 95 and 100, allowing for us to go straight to Legion content. The Demon Hunters have been awoken in the Vault of the Wardens, who are now desperate for their help against the invading Legion. But before even that, we will get to take part in the events of 10 years before, in the Black Temple. We, as the Illidari, are sent to Mardoon, which has been mentioned in the story section, on a crucial mission. As far as the rest of the story goes, Blizzard have been tight-lipped, and haven't told us any more. There are only going to be 2 specs for the Demon Hunter, a DPS spec called Havoc, and a tanking spec called Vengeance. Any other specs would have either not fit the archetype or watered down the class identity. Demon Hunter tanks will likely use a lot of dodge and parry mechanics as they are a very agile class. Some example abilities are as follows. Oh, and did I mention double jump? Because yeah, double jump. The Demon Hunters will turn into hellish forms, enhancing their role similar to the metamorphosis of Warlocks, only their own version, and much more a part of the class. DPS classes will be able to teleport into combat, while the tank will be able to grant supportive auras. Also, did I mention double jump? I did? Well, they can also vault in and out of combat and unfold their wings to perform gliding descents to surprise enemies from above. Now that's pretty damn badass. Demon Hunters wear leather and can wield daggers, fist weapons, one-handed weapons, and glaives which will be exclusive for Demon Hunters. They come in a pair and fill both slots. In the future they might dual-wield standard agility weapons, but this is unclear as there is conflicting information out there. The Demon Hunter artifact glaives can be seen in some of the character creation screenshots for Demon Hunters. These have been shown during this section. And yes, there will be another character slot for your Demon Hunter. There is going to be an overhaul to the honor system, which Blizzard feel isn't working as they'd like. The current honor system, though better than the original, means that people are relying on gear for PvP, which doesn't feel right to Blizzard. Conquest is also gone, as is PvP specific gear. There will be ways to earn gear through PvP, but your ability to PvP will come from the PvP talents and your own inherent skill. The new system is more akin to a talent tree. As you gain honor, you'll level up through ranks, 1 to 50. Each rank gives perks or bonuses as well as unlocking talents. The PvP talents allow the balance of PvP to be independent from PvE. These abilities will only work in battlegrounds and arenas. You unlock them down a column and then start the next column, allowing you to quickly select at least one talent from each column. At level 50, all talents will be unlocked. I'll show some examples whilst we carry on. As you can see, each of these abilities will replace an ability that you already use and have. This is Blizzard's way of reducing the amount of buttons that you'll have to be dealing with. It's also how they're going to split the way that PvE and PvP are balanced. With these new 1 to 50 PvP levels, you will also be able to prestige like you can in Call of Duty, where you'll reset your honor level. Once you level back up through, you will unlock cosmetic rewards, such as the PvP form of your artifact weapon or exclusive mounts. All of these will be cosmetic and will not affect the power of the player. You'll also earn badges for your unit frame portrait that will show your prestige rank. There are a few important class changes which I'll now go through very quickly. There is probably not going to be another tier of talents due to the way artifact weapons will work. Survival Hunters will be a melee class with a pet. Beast Mastery Hunters will be ranged with a pet. Marksmanship Hunters will be ranged but will not have a pet. These changes are to differentiate the hunter specs which had become too similar. Demonology Warlocks will be getting big changes, focusing on their demons. They will focus on summoning and controlling demons rather than metamorphosis. The other specs will still have demons. Disc Priests will be much more offensive healers. They will have standard heals, but they will sustain their healing through DPS, closer to 50-50 damage to healing. The idea is that you will throw out a single target heal, giving the player a buff. Then, when you smite, people who have that buff will get healing, and you will need to reapply that buff periodically. Here are some quick notes on flying and other random bits that we couldn't cover in any other section. The Blizzard team is happy with how flying worked in Draenor. You will have to level up and explore the land before you're able to fly, similar to patch 6.2.1 for Warlords. However, from the offset of Legion you will know and be able to work towards unlocking flying. Legion will be released next year, though there is not a date planned yet. The next expansion after Legion is already in the planning stages, and the Legion cinematic is coming soon. The Transmog overhaul will make it easier to use, as you unlock gear rather than having to keep it in your bags forever. One of the social features under development will notify you when a friend queues for a raid, dungeon, or PvP. Professions will each get their own questline, and there will be some major changes to how professions work as a whole, and improvements to the UI and new functionality. Blizzard have stated multiple times during Gamescom that they have the largest team working on professions that they've ever had. So, that is the summing up of pretty much everything we've learnt about Legion so far. If I have missed anything that you think is incredibly important, then please do comment below and I will endeavour to add it as an annotation. If you like this kind of video, please do give it a like so that my channel can be found by more people, and subscribe if you want more of this kind of video in the future. Next in this series will be a video covering the new SWTOR expansion, Knights of the Fallen Empire, and I will continue to release smaller updates to this video on Legion and other videos as and when more information comes to light. Thanks once again for watching. Here are some of my other videos for you to check out. Up here is my Let's Play of Tomb Raider, which is still running, and down here there will eventually be a lore video related to the upcoming expansion.